everybody. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me for a new Tuesday tip video. So I've been sharing some fun and creative DIY desk organizers to keep your crafting space clean. Today I've got a really creative DIY paper layer storage caddy. This thing's awesome. What a great creative option for taking those layers that we use all the time and have them at our fingertips. I think you're really going to enjoy the video today. I'm ready to get started. I hope you are too. I do love to have cardstock layers prepped and ready to go. This is actually one of my most used tools in my craft room. So what I've got is a paper layer storage caddy. Can you see we've got a great little divider. Inside I've got 3 different sizes of layers of my basic white, 3 different size layers of my very vanilla. Because guys, when I want these, I don't want to always have to cut them. And so this is something that, like I said, I use daily. I love this little caddy. So you guys might remember last week I shared how to create a Stampin' dimensional caddy, a little adhesive caddy. So this is going to go right along with it. I'll put the link to this video up there in the corner if you want to check that one out. But today we are going to create a fabulous caddy, something you're going to use just as much as I do. Let's talk about the supplies we need to create it. Let's begin with designer series paper. I love this one. It really does not use a lot. So what I have a piece here. This is a 3 by 8. I have 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 12 and another piece that is a 2 by 6. Now I'm going to use the Lovely and Linen, but you're going to want to use whatever designer series paper matches your craft space. But I thought this one was awfully pretty. I loved the navy in this one. Now we're going to match the colors in that designer series paper to our box or boxes, because we're actually making 2, one for the basic white, one for the very vanilla. I'm going to use Sweet Sorbet. I have 2 pieces, 4 3/4 by 7. For the embossing that I'm going to do on the front, I've got a little scrap of Night of Navy. This is a 1 by 5, or I'm sorry, forgive me, 1 1/4 by 5. But you know, just any scrap will do. And then this is truly scrap. This color, just something that I had laying around. This is not going to show. So it doesn't matter. This could be some botched card that you had. Cut this down, and this is going to be a 2 by 6. So again, just truly scrap. Now to create the little flower here on the front to decorate it up, I've got 3 pieces of cardstock. I have Sweet Sorbet, 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, Flirty Flamingo, same size. This is actually adhesive sheet, and it's going to make creating that flower super easy. Now, if you didn't catch all those measurements, don't worry. I actually have a tutorial for sale over at SimplySimpleStamping.com, or you can just look down in the YouTube description. You'll be able to find it there as well. And guys, my tutorial is going to have some great diagrams to make putting this box together super easy. All the written instructions, because I know some of you prefer to have those written down, everything in one place. Very affordable little tutorial. You can find it at Simply Simple Stamping. I'm actually going to be using this today as I teach you how to create our paper layer caddy. All right, let's go ahead and start with the scoring of those boxes. So let me start with one. First thing we want to do is we want to take that 7-inch one. We're going to put it up here at the top. Now, before I get too crazy, let's make sure that's cutting blade is out of our way. Goodness, we don't want to cut. The light colored blade is our scoring blade. So what we want to do is we want to score this at 3/4 of an inch on one side, and then repeat that on the other side. So 3/4 here and here. Now we're going to take that 4 3/4 inch. Let's put that up at the top, and let's score at 2 inches on each side with those with the 4 3/4 at the top. So we have 3/4 and 3/4, 2 inches and 2 inches. We're going to repeat that here with our other box. And now we're going to do a little snippy. So you're going to see you've got 2 little squares here with your score lines. I want you to cut off the score line. So on this one, I'm going to the right. I'm cutting on the right side of the score line. Over here, I'm going to cut to the left. of the score line. We really do want to cut that off. And then next what we want to do is we want to miter. You see how I'm cutting from the inside of that square to that outside corner? That's what we want to do. This is going to just kind of help our box go together and take a little bit of that bulk out. So we're going to do that here. My friends, let's repeat that over here. And now we're going to repeat that on our other box. So both of these are going to be created exactly the same. And give all of my score lines just a really good crease. You guys, if you've followed me for a while, you've heard me say it a million times. When it comes to boxes, you want those nice, harsh lines. So a bone folder is definitely a worthwhile investment. All right, we have this. So now we're going to put the box together. Just a reminder, if you've missed any of the measurements or you prefer diagrams and things to make creating a little easier, don't forget to go grab your tutorial over at simplysimplestamping.com, or you can look down in the YouTube description. I've got a direct link that'll take you there. It's a very affordable little tutorial. I think it'll help you to have the written instructions and those diagrams there. Be sure to head over and check that out. Okay, now we're gonna get to going and put this box together. And before I start gluing anything down, let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to take this tab and we're going to glue it to the outside. Do you see? It's going to go on the outside and then it's going to get sandwiched in between with our remaining little tab. Can you see? So we're just going to sandwich that in between. It just keeps it hidden. I just need a little bit of glue here. We don't need a lot because it's going to be sandwiched, so we're good. We're going to adhere these tabs. Again, we'll do that to the outside. So just a dab will do you right here. And now we can take these outside tabs and they're ready to go. Now you do want to make sure you're getting glue on all four sides. You know, we don't want it just there in the middle. And by the way, I have just found that the multi-purpose glue, I mean, you don't have to work super quick. You have a little bit of time. But you can see, and I'm not using a lot. We don't want it to glob out, right? You guys know about those glue globs. I'm going to adhere that tab down. See, still plenty wet. So I can do all that gluing at one time. And I'll get that one down. That is our first box. Now, remember I said everything I do to this one, you're going to do to this one. All right, there we go. Our boxes are done. Now let's bring in the fabulous designer series paper. This would be the 12-inch pieces. And you're easily going to be able to see what is the front and what is the back. Can you see here's my seam? So this is the pretty side. This would be the little less than pretty side. So we are going to want to adhere that designer series paper. Just kind of do your best to center it up. But we're going to adhere that onto the box. And then we're going to wrap around to the back. It's not going to meet. Don't worry. We got you covered. So I'm going to put my adhesive here. Now remember, it's about a 1 3/4, so I don't want to go too high. But this just kind of made it a little bit easier for me to just put the glue there on the box itself instead of on the designer series paper. And the other reason I love to use the multi-purpose glue is, do you see, I kind of have the ability to slide. Once you've got that, we're going to get our fingers in there, give it a little massage there. Now I can bring these pieces around and you can either put the adhesive right here or you can do it on the paper. But I like to kind of take it one section at a time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So we're going to just adhere that. Once that's good and glued down, now we can get the other tab. Of course, we're just going to keep repeating the process. Okay, both boxes done. We're going to flip these over and we're going to come back in with that multi-purpose glue and we're going to adhere both of these boxes together. Now this is one we want to make sure that we get right to the edges. We want this held together really good. By the way, this multi-purpose glue is some super strong stuff. I am a fan. I'm just not a fan of when I get glue on my fingers. And so you could also use tear and tape if multi-purpose glue, if having the liquid glue is not your favorite. Now we're going to take both of these boxes. Ready? I'm going to line them up. Remember, it's back to back, so we're not going to see that ugly at all. Now, if you need a little help in pressing this together, you can take a couple of clear blocks and look at that. I'm just going to give it a good press, kind of bring it down. It's a great way to use your blocks. It's a great way to use those blocks. I mean, we have them, so let's use them. All right, box is all put together. Now we're going to create a base because this is a little flimsy. And when I put my cardstock in here, I don't want it to tip over. So let's create a really nice base for our box. And to do that, we're going to use the remaining designer series paper and that scrap. Remember that, just whatever garbage scrap that you have. So what I want to do here is I'm going to adhere this, and again, we don't have to go crazy. All right, I just want to kind of adhere that scrap there in the middle. By the way, this is the side that's going to show because I want to have like a nice two-tone, but you feel free to do all of the same color. It doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's your project. I want you to do it in a way that works for you. So now what we want to do is we're going to cut right here, right by that corner. Okay. And we're just going to take that snip off. Neatness does not count. So don't stress about it being perfect or trying to bring in a paper trimmer. It's all good. None of it will show. Promise. That's why I didn't worry about using a piece of scrap. It won't show. All right, we have that. So what I want to do now is fold in all of these edges. And you want to just try to fold as right up against that piece of cardstock. By the way, if you even wanted it to be firmer, you could use the backing from your designer series paper, you know, whatever works for you. But we want to make sure all those are good and creased down. Back in with that glue. Again, this is another spot. I don't have to go crazy because I'm going to cover it up, but I want to bring all of these pieces in, glue them down really well. Boy, it is ugly, but that's why I have this extra piece, and you see it's going to cover it up. This is actually the bottom, so all these pretty nice soft edges, that's what's actually going to show. So now I'll come back in with my glue, lots of glue, my friends. All right, now we can top this off so we can hide my icky cardstock there. And like I said, that is now the bottom, and my box we're going to adhere right here on top. So you can see it's going to create a great little base for us. So since I think that's good and dry, let's go ahead and we're going to adhere this to the bottom of the little platform that we just created. All right, so let's make sure that's the bottom of the box. That's where that extra piece is. Now we're going to put this right on top. And my friends, I hope you can kind of see. You're going to want to stand right over it, line it up on all four sides. I think we're good there. Let's bring those clear blocks in again because they helped us so much in giving that a press down onto that base. We want that really good and secure. All right, the box is done. Let's make it pretty, shall we? Let's make it pretty. Now, because this is going to be sitting on my desk for an awfully long time, I'm going to put a little extra TLC in this, and I'm going to use my alphabet bundle. You can get this as a bundle. You can get the stamp set and the punch separately. This is the best label punch, but I loved getting them at the same time because I saved 10%. Yes, I love to save money. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me set that punch aside because first things first, we want to do some embossing. So I have my little embossing tray that has an embossing buddy in it. What is an embossing buddy? It's this wonderful little pouch that has some kind of magic powder in it, and I'm rubbing it across my cardstock. Why? Well, you know, if I have oils on my hands, or hey, that glue, you know, I've been working with all that glue. If I had little bits of glue and got that on here, guess what? Embossing powder will stick to it, and we do not want that. So I've kind of cleansed the palette, so that is all ready to go. So if you recall, I shared this project and I said create. So on this one, we're going to say stamp because these are our stamping layers. So let's use the word stamp. I've got my Versamark ink pad. Now, when you stamp these letters, give yourself some space in between because we're going to be punching them out. And by the way, I'm not spelling it correctly because it really does not matter. We're going to be punching it out. But as long as I get all of my letters to spell out stamp, I'm good. All right, I need an M. We'll get our M in there, Perfect. That is ready to go. I'm going to bring my tray back in. And one of the things that I love in this kit are these kind of reverse tweezers. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put that there inside my tweezers. I've got my white embossing powder. But remember, you could use your silver or gold, whatever you want. I just really liked the pop of the white on this. So do you see all of that? That's what we call embossing boogers, and we don't want those. So I'm going to give that a little tap. Get any of that excess off. And you know what? We also have this great brush. So if you see any little strays, which can happen, we want to brush those away. Now there's a little spout here that I can pour the embossing powder back into the container, but now it's time to do the heat embossing. So when you're using your heat tool, I always recommend that you let it heat up for about 30 seconds before you start. And now it's magic time. So I'm holding the tool about 3-4 inches away, and you want to kind of keep moving it back and forth. What we're doing is we're just starting to heat up that embossing powder. What we're going for is for it to be totally melted. And you'll see how it's kind of dull? In fact, I'm just going to zoom in on the A. Do you see how it went from dull to bright white? Let me do it again here on the P. Look at that. That's the magic. We love heat embossing. It is still one of the most exciting things whenever I create. I just love it. And this little reverse tweezer, it's wonderful because my fingers aren't getting burnt at all. It's fabulous. All right, so you want to make sure everything's good and melted. I am happy with that. And this part is important. Let this cool. I don't know what spatum means, but anyway, we want to let this cool because I made the mistake of immediately coming in with my punch, and guess what? I smeared it. So take it from me, let that cool. All right, it's all cooled off. So I can now come in and we're just gonna line up our letters. Take your time. Remember, this is a piece of art that's sitting out on your desk. So we wanna take our time punching these out. Now you probably will have to do a little trim in between each one. I wanted to make sure you had enough space in between as you were working. So we'll get all of our letters punched out. All right, S-T-A-M-P. Now here's my little trick. I'm going to line these up backwards. So P-A-M-T-S. And I do that for a reason. It's just going to make it go together really nice. So I'm going to line these up. And now we're going to come in with some Stampin' Dimensionals. I prefer the black Stampin' Dimensionals. With this being such a dark cardstock, it works really well. So I'm going to start, doesn't matter which end you start with, you're going to line up the punch, and you can see where those line up. Line those up, add a dimensional. I'm going to go ahead and check it. Yep, MP, that's what we want. And I'm going to go to the next one. This is great because it just makes putting these together super easy, and we want those dimensionals on there anyway. And you can see too, this actually goes together pretty fast. Flip it over, I'm good. You know what? I am also gonna come in with the mini Stampin' Dimensionals, which by the way, when you order the black dimensionals, you get both the mini and the regular size. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of those right there on the end. Let's bring our adorable box back in. I'll remove the backings. And you can decide where you want this to go on your box, but I think for mine, I think I'm gonna add it over here to the right side. All right, now we're gonna add ourselves a pretty flower, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. Let's take that adhesive sheet. I'm going to peel off the backing on that. This is all sticky. We're going to place that right here on that flirty flamingo. Give it a nice little back rub. That's ready to go. Let's bring in some dies. Now, my friends, you can use any of your favorite dies, but I thought the summer shadows were so pretty for this one. So I'm going to use this background and then this outline image. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the solid, and I'm going to die cut that here from my Sweet Sorbet. Now we're going to take the outline, we're going to flip it over because we want that adhesive on the back. We're going to run this die through. Grab that backing. We'll peel that off. This is going to make it so easy, you guys. It's going to go right to the edge. And now we have this gorgeous two-tone flower, so we're all ready to go. All right, let's add the flower to our box. I'm just going to put a little dab of multi-purpose glue, add my flower, and then I'm going to top off that flower with a pearl. This is our pastel pearls. I love to add just a little bit of bling. So that's very simple. Okay, now you're probably going, all right, I'm still just not understanding these layers. So let me show you what I have. I'll show you here with the basic white. So I tend to use 3 different size layers. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And I went down 1/4 of an inch. So these are 3 3/4 by 5. And then this is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. I had to think. And you can, if you do more in 8s, feel free. This is whatever layers you use the most. So those are my 3 favorites. And I'm going to put those right in here. I've done the exact same thing with my vanilla cardstock. And guys, like I said, this is just something I tend to go to all the time. When I need a layer, I can just grab it and go. No more stopping. I got to cut. Everything is all ready. And of course, my 2 most popular colors that I use, my basic white and my very vanilla. Now, remember, we did create this one. So now I've got a little matching set. And I hope you'll join me next Tuesday, because I've got a 3rd project that's going to go right along with this. And you're going to have one fabulous stamping space when we're done. Thank you all so much for joining me today. If you liked the video, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. And if you haven't subscribed, just click that great big red subscribe button. And if you click the bell as well, YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video. We'd love to have you join us here on the channel. Make it a great day, everyone. Can't wait to stamp with you next time. Bye-bye.